Hello, everyone, and welcome to the five-star Grand Prix 2025 daily review series. Once again, we are here for day 11, the final day of the round robin part of this year's tournament, and we have our playoffs set. We have so much to go over here as the show aired live from Hamamatsu here on a Sunday. I am recording this directly after because that is how I roll, but you'll get this up during the day. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it gives you time to check out the show if you weren't crazy like me and watched it live. So like I said, we have so much to get into. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I ask you before we get into the rest of the show, please check out all the content we've been doing over the past number of weeks. Check out all the five-star dailies, the Dream Star dailies. Check out the five-star Joe show this past Friday. We talked about a little bit of here and there. Talked about the breakdown of the final week. We talked about the marvelous Korakuen and so much more. Check out day 10. We talked about the Yokohama Budokan show from Saturday if you haven't checked that out yet. And also check out from this very morning if you're interested in the Dreamstar Grand Prix, the day 5 and day 6 reviews of that tournament. 4 matches total, so it's a nice short video, but definitely go check it out. With that being said, I'm not going to hold you. We're going to get right to it. I'm recording this at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, so it's only right that we dive right into it. So, day 11, five-star Grand Prix. We are now on to the playoffs. We have done all of the block matches. Things have all changed, and we are going to get to the bottom of it, but we'll get through the undercard of this show first. So there was a lot of undercard matches that didn't have as many stakes, didn't have as much meaning, but we cover every match here. We review every match here. And it all started with Iida versus Yura Heime, a very simple match on the card, a very uh important match, however, when it comes to the career of Yura Heime, as at the end of the match, she was officially welcomed into Stars. So, congratulations to her on finally finding her new home, her new faction. Obviously, it had been building for a number of months, but Saida officially welcomed her in after her completing the five-star Grand Prix. Overall, this was much of the same as we've seen throughout the Yuri Hime tournament. She's had, a few bursts here and there, but nothing to write home about necessarily throughout the tournament. I think there was a part of Iida that wanted to really give her a strong match to close things out, though, which I thought was really cool of Iida. Iida ultimately won the match with a super lariat, sending Hime into the ground, saying night night once and for all. Like I said, after the match, that's when she was welcomed into Stars. So congratulations to her on that. We then had some more undercard matches, some more matches that didn't have many stakes to it, including Tomoka Inaba versus Rian. The big news here, I guess, is Tomoka Inaba ultimately got to 8 points. So she tied the same amount of points that Starlight Kid ended up ending the tournament with, going 4-3. So pretty strong considering she started the tournament off 1-3. She ended up closing it strong. Same can go for Rian. I thought this was one of I don't want to say Rihanna's weak matches. I think she had a pretty solid tournament for expectations, but I think the lack of excitement that kind of carried into this match because of what was to come, where it was on the card, I think that played a factor in my overall thoughts on this match. Ultimately, Tomoka Inaba won the match, big shock, with a running penalty kick, which used to be her finisher from years ago. Feels like she's gone away from that, but she pins Rian with it to get to 8 points. Like I said, both of these wrestlers were eliminated from the tournament prior to the match, so that did not matter too much. Speaking of which, Lady C and Waka Tsukiyama faced off here. Waka Tsukiyama coming off her win at the Yokohama Budokan. Could she make it 2 in a row? Lady C, obviously, as well, looking to finish her tournament strong, maybe carry some momentum out of the five-star Grand Prix. This followed the same theme as the many Waka Tsukiyama matches throughout this tournament, right? She's found a good role, I think, throughout this tournament. Credits where credits due. She knew her role. She played up to her role, and I think that did a lot of good for her overall. Um, in the end, she did take the loss here. Or sorry, she did get the win here. Lady C took the loss when she got another shock roll-up win, which the crowd was very happy about, and she celebrated big time. So congratulations to Waka, obviously one half of the New Blood Tag Team Champions. I think in terms of the way you look at it, I think Waka did probably the best she could do in this tournament. So good for her, good for the win, and yeah, that is all. You then had Aya Sakura versus Miyu Amasaki. This was kind of an important match. So this is where things started to matter. At the time of this match, I believe Miyu Amasaki officially had a chance. Had Ami Sareee lost later in the night to Bozilla, I believe no. It would have been a weird three-way tie between her, Iida, and Ami Sourei, but it didn't matter as Aya Sakura was able to get the win. I think this match kind of followed the long time theme of Miyu Amasaki's tournament. Not giving her a ton of time, not giving her a ton of chances to shine, which I think was a bummer for so much of the tournament, at least for myself, and I know for others. I think she's someone who does have a ceiling that I'd like to see her reach someday. But this tournament wasn't there for her to even try and find that. And I think that was kind of just the overall bummer. She probably if you look at the entire tournament field in terms of expectations and hopes going into this tournament, I think Amasaki's on the lower end because of what she could have done compared to what she did do. Aya Sakura, I'm always happy to see get a win. She ended up getting a cool leg trap pin to shock Amasaki. So there's that as well. But overall, fine match that eliminated Amasaki once and for all from this year's 5-star Grand Prix. We then had Sareee versus Momo Kohgo. Obviously, Sareee clinched her spot yesterday after defeating Momo Watanabe in the main event of the Yokohama Budokan show. This match, I think, followed a lot of maybe the continued disgust, that Sareee has for Stardom. That Sareee has for everyone. She was not here to waste her time. She was not here to waste anyone's time. She was here to run through Momo Kohgo once and for all. And ultimately, what we got out of that was Momo Kogo's best match of the tournament, because of course we did, because that's what Sareee does. She didn't even bring the IWGP Women's title for this match in. This was all business. This was, I'm here to win, clinch number one seed, and call it a day. And that's exactly what she did. This match was quite entertaining for what it was. So much of the match, Sareee was very unamused with what Momo Kohgo was bringing to the table, and Momo Kohgo was bringing everything she had: big time forearms, big time moves. She hit a 619 at one point. She had a great springboard drop kick. But again, so much of what this match proved was, Sareee willingly giving so much to other wrestlers throughout this card. Momo Kohgo got a lot from this match, but my God, Sareee crushed her a number of times with brutal forearms, just sending her to the mat in disappointment, in destruction, but she kept fighting back. And I think that's what's important. Sareee hit one of the nastier bottom rope drop kicks right into Momo Kogo's face at one point, but there was a good near fall on a small package. But ultimately, Sareee said enough is enough. She caught Momo Kohgo, hit a nasty German suplex, hit the Ito stomp, and said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm finishing this once and for all. I am shutting down these Momo Kohgo cheers that I've been hearing throughout this match. I'm shutting this entire thing down." She ultimately hits Momo Kohgo with a Uranagi, a move she had not really brought out until recently in this tournament. She didn't need to hit it on Momo Kohgo to pin her, but it was to send a message. Sareee hits the Uranagi on Momo Kohgo and clinched the number one seed out of the Blue Stars B block. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. The next match on the clock was none other than Hanako versus Hina. This was a major, major match. A win for Hanako got her in the top three. And I talked about this on the day 10 review, which you can check out from Saturday. I said Hanako isn't ready. And much of that is she was not ready compared to the likes of a Momo Watanabe or a Suzuki. She should have not been making it over either of them. And at the time I said that, Hanako needed one singular win to get in. That is what she needed yesterday, and that's what she ended up needing here. Well, thankfully, Hina got the job done. And listen, I think these two had a pretty solid match. I think Hanako probably feels better fighting against someone like Hina because she got to be the aggressor. It made Hina the underdog, which I think is an interesting conversation that I've talked about a number of times throughout this tournament. Of so much of what Hina does well, as we've seen in the future Stardom Championship reign, is being the dominant force. But against someone like Hanako, I think it worked out for her in being the slight underdog, but continuously fighting back. She got the STF in on Hanako multiple times to try and wear down the bigger competitor. At one point, she hits an STO. They get to the top rope. Hanako hits a superplex followed by another suplex, but that was answered by a jackhammer by Rian. I thought that was a really cool entire phase of the match. Really, it was a lot of fun. And ultimately, Hina shocked the world. Hina ended up getting the pin over Hanako and eliminating Hanako from the tournament. With that win, Hina officially welcomed Momo Watanabe into the 5-star Grand Prix final, something that I did not feel like was going to be a reality yesterday. But that is what happened. That was the big shocker maybe of the show for me overall, and it kept Hanako out and allowed Momo Watanabe to get in. So why don't we finish out the Red Stars B side of things? The winner of this match, Suzuki versus Ranna Yagami, would advance into the playoffs representing Blue Stars B. If Suzu won, she'd get the number 2 seed. If Ranna won, she'd get the 3 seed. Pretty simple, pretty big time stakes, and thankfully it was Suzuki who got the win as she should. Listen, I think Ron is a good prospect, but again, not someone that should be making in over Suzuki and Momo Watanabe. This match was really entertaining, though. I want to say that I thought this match to this point was quite solid, and I think it's a case of where Ron has gone. And I think it's a case of how great Suzu's been throughout this tournament and kind of where you want to see Rana at to this point in her career. Before the bell even rang, Rana was on the attack. She took out Suzu and kept it going, hitting some big kicks going throughout the match, some good back and forth. At one point, Rana got a submission on Suzu where she was just bending her arm and bending her arm in every which way. But the momentum turned back onto the side of Suzuki when she hit a big time running power bomb for a good near fall. Rana went for a Brazilian kick, but she was met with a German suplex by Suzuki, who then would hit a tequila shot, but that would be for a near fall. Ultimately, Suzuki won with the deadlift German suplex, planting Rana right on the back of her neck and pinning her with the bridge to get the victory. With that being said, we had our first full block complete. Number 1 seed being Sareee, number 2 seed being Suzuki, and number 3 seed for Blue Stars B being Momo Watanabe. That was not only the correct 3 to make it, but the only 3 that should have made it out of this block. So that was a victory in itself. This was a good match. And yeah, I overall am very happy with how this all went, and I like the order of how they did it. I thought that was a smart order to just get kind of that block out of the way. Next up, we had Red Stars A. This was a must win for Hanan. A must win because at the time, um, Her and May Sarah were in an interesting spot. They were both at 7 points, and I think that would have created an interesting conversation because they had both drawn. But Hanan was able to fight through with Yuna Mizumori, and this was a really exciting match too. I think you had some really good near falls throughout, and kind of the case of Yuna Mizumori, right? We've talked about it many a time. Yuna Mizumori is someone who's capable. Yuna Mizumori is someone who deserves more than she probably gets. But ultimately, we know her role, and she's going to put on good performances no matter what. Great near fall in the early going, looking like Hana was going to steal it quick, but Yuna was able to kick out. There was a great moment where she was able to pull herself in the ring, that being Yuna, but she was met with a judo throw by Hanan. Overall, I thought this match had a really good pace as well, just continuously going. I think that's kind of what you want to see overall. And at least that's what I wanted to see. So I was really happy with that. At one point, Hana hit the cutie special for a good near fall. Yuna came back with some big time forearms, crushing Hanan one after another, which I really enjoyed. She hit a sit out driver for a good near fall, a big time lariat on Hana as well, but ultimately Hana was able to roll up Yuna Mizumori to get the victory and officially advance as member of the Red Stars A and give us our first three, or our complete three, being Sayaka Kamitani, Bia Priestley, and Hanan. The seeding was decided later in the night. But before we get there, we got to a match between Azumi and Sayaka Kurara. With a win, Azumi would have earned the number one seed and the bye on Wednesday at the Korakuen Hall show. But Sayaka Kurara and her continuously very good tournament would not be denied. And I think that's an important aspect of this match and really her tournament from start to finish. Sayaka Kurara went out there through this tournament and continuously, step by step, showed improvement, showed growth, and overall said, I am going to be the wrestler they believe in me to be. And I think that was my biggest takeaway, or one of my biggest takeaways from this tournament. When you look beyond the people making the playoffs and you just look at the competitors who are going to be left behind, Sayaka Kurara did everything she needed to, I think, to show why she was the Cinderella winner, why she was someone who challenged Sayaka Kamitani, and why moving forward she is the rookie that they believe in, and rightfully so. I thought she had a great tournament, and this was a great way to close out her tournament. I really liked what her and Azumi brought to the table. This was a really solid match between the two. The pacing, again, was really good. I think Kurara is really strong at that. Azumi was really trying to destroy Kurara's arms throughout the match, working towards the numero uno later in the match. Just at times destroying Kurara, mocking Kurara, treating this as just an easy match. And I think that's kind of where Azumi's slip up comes into effect. At one point, Azumi goes for the double foot stomp, misses. That led by a sleeper hold by Sayaka Kurara, which helps bring her back into the match. She then hit the violet shooting knees, a la Tam Nakano. I think she hits them better, quite frankly. She runs fully into them. It is pretty nasty knees. That was a good spot. Ultimately, Azumi gets back to her feet, hits a double foot stomp for a great near fall. But the moment of the match, the big time spear that you're always waiting for with Kurara, quickly gets the pin on Azumi and shocks the world, gets the victory, and leaves Azumi looking for answers. Azumi could have gotten the number one seed with the win, could have locked that up, but instead, the loss opened the door for the winner of Starlight Kid versus Natsupoi to take that number one seed, and that's exactly what happened. But if you're looking for matches to go out of your way to see on this show, this is match number one. I think that's worth doing so. Really good match and a great way for Kurara to close out her tournament. Speaking of great matches, this was the match of the night for my book. Just a fantastic back and forth with everything on the line between Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. Everything was on the line. If they went to a draw, they could have both made it, but no. That is not what this rivalry is supposed to be, right? Last year at Stardom, Dream Queendom, Starlight Kid took the Wonder of Stardom Championship away from Natsupoi. That's part of the story, right? It's an important part of the story. And over that time, since then, we have watched Natsupoi evolve into this ace level figure. Could she pull it out of herself to win this match, to get the bye, to give herself some leeway and leave the Wonder of Stardom champion outside of this tournament? That was every part of what was going on within this match. But ultimately, what this match was the fight of Natsupoi's career. Natsupoi needed to survive. Natsupoi needed to fight back because, as we've seen for so much of this tournament, Starlight Kid was out there with a mission. She is going to destroy your leg. She is going to destroy your body in effort to win this match. So many of these moments, I just was in amazement. This match, like I said, was great. The match of the night. Just attacking the knee, attacking the leg. Just every time Natsupoi looked to get offense, Starlight Kid shut her down. Every single time. I think that was a great story to the match. It was going to need to be a shock. It was going to need to be a stunner to steal this match because that's how locked in Starlight Kid truly was. But Natsupoi was able to finally get some offense when she hit a German suplex on Starlight Kid on the apron and then came crashing down with a crossbody to the outside. But as Starlight Kid does, listen, that was just a blip in her overall attack. She would get back on the action. She hit her knees to the back, continuously just bring it. She'd hit her reverse splash in the air for a good near fall. Back and forth they go, trading near falls left and right. Every single fall is a major, right? Sure, they could build to a draw, but every fall is you're out and you're number one seed. That is what was at stake throughout this match. That's why you needed to win. You needed to take out your rival. Um, Closing stretch here, we have a lot of near falls. Natsupoi hits the SOS, near fall hits the Feral Gift, near fall, Tiger suplex by or Tiger a tiger suplex? I think it was a tiger suplex by Starlight Kid for another near fall. And then she got in the Black Tiger leg killer. And boy, oh boy, was this one of the best spots of the entire tournament, I thought. The entire year. Just locking in on Natsupoi. And you're watching Natsupoi cry in pain. Her leg is getting bent in and there's just no answer. There's just no answer at some points for for Natsupoi, but she is able to fight out and she goes for this spin kick and she's caught. This was one of the best spots of the entire tournament. She is caught in a awesome Black Tiger leg killer once again, and you're looking like it is over for Natsupoi. She's struggling, she's crying in the middle of that ring, but somehow, some way, the incredible struggle leads to Natsupoi getting out of it, getting the poi roll, and getting the victory, pinning Starlight Kid just long enough to earn the number one seed, to eliminate Starlight Kid, and to welcome Rina into the playoffs in her very first tournament. So your seeding was as follows. You had Natsupoi number one, Azumi taking the number two seed, and Rina getting in with Starlight Kid, the Wonder of Stardom champion, looking on from the outside. A real shocker, a real stunner, but again, proof that Natsupoi is the future ace of this promotion as far as I'm concerned. A awesome match. The top match I'd recommend from this show. Just great stuff. We then had Ami Soiree versus Bozilla. We knew both of these two were in the tournament. This was not about anything other than placement at this stage of the game. But major placement was on, and this match rocked. This match was awesome. Again, continuous. And I kind of expect it. Listen, Ami Soiree has had a really good tournament. It's been a lot of turning people around on her, myself included. I've talked about it since she's come back. She has been really good, and this match was a really good showing. I think my favorite Ami Soiree match thus far throughout the tournament, and a continuation of Bozilla bringing a different ability overall to the Stardom ring. Big chops, just an absolute match of haymakers, right? Every single beat was them trying to take each other out, a pure slugfest in all the best ways. At one point, Bozilla does a sunset flip over Ami, gets to her feet, and hits a great Styles Clash for a stunning near fall. She also put in a sleeper, by the way, on Ami, and I thought that was a good spot because so much of this tournament, you've seen that happen to Bozilla. She turns it around, does it to someone like Ami Sareee. They're trading forearms on the apron, which leads to Ami Sareee hitting a headbutt and then taking out Bozilla with a diving crossbody. That's not what you expect to see from Ami Sareee, but shouts out to her. At one point, there's a big German suplex by Bozilla, but Ami gets to her feet, hits a diving lariat to even the score. Bozilla hits a spinning Death Valley driver for a great near fall, and as Bozilla gets to the top rope, she's looking to take out Ami Sareee once and for all, but Ami Sareee gets to her feet, hits a power bomb, then hits a stunning thunderbolt in the middle of the ring to pin Bozilla and earn her spot at the number 2 seed in the Blue Stars A side of things. This match rocked. Definitely go check it out. These two had the chemistry you were hoping for. These two have chemistry for something even greater, I think, down the line, but just an awesome back and forth affair between two absolute powerhouses and two wrestlers who I think are obviously not done with one another. I think that would be a shock if they were. So yeah, this match was really, really good. Second favorite match on the overall show, and just a great performance by Ami Sareee, who gets that number 2 seed. Serrano gets number 1, while Bozilla gets number 3 from Blue Stars A. And finally, our main event before we get into everything ahead of Wednesday. It was Bea Priestley going one-on-one with the World of Stardom champion Sayaka Kamitani. I think when you saw this match in the main event, you kind of got an idea of what was going to happen. And of course, what was happening? Bea Priestley pinning Sayaka Kamitani, hitting the Queen's Landing, better known as the Ocean Cyclone Suplex, for the first time since her returning to Japan. This was her old finish. Obviously, the finish of Manami Toyota, but she calls it the Queen's Landing. First time using it since her return. She had won, she had become world champion with it, all these different things. And ultimately, that is what she used to take down Saya Kamatani. This was definitely B's best match, I thought, from the tournament. Not that there was a lot of competition, but I thought Saya gave her a fine performance here in the main event. Some good back and forth at one point. Just, the crowd's not super into it. I thought that was an interesting point. Big time Saya Kamatani main event. I expected the crowd to be a little bit more invested, but it is what it is. They're trading forearms to the head. At one point, Saya Kamatani hits a bicycle kick followed by a spin kick, but B kind of no sells it. Oh, there was a top rope Falcon Arrow. That was pretty crazy. I forgot about that. She even hit the Star Crusher, but that was kicked out. She went for the spinning Star Crusher. We got a plan B out of B, which did not get a pin, but was able to even the field. Started trading those forearms, like I said. Falcon Arrow by Bea Priestley for a near fall, and then she hits the Queen's Landing on Saya Kamatani, becoming the first person in Stardom in a singles match to pin Saya Kamatani since last year's 5-star Grand Prix final, where Saya lost to Micah. That marks the second big loss from Saya Kamatani overall this week, as well as she lost the Regina de Wave Championship to Kohaku at the Pro Wrestling Wave show as well. So fascinating week for Saya Kamitani. Bea Priestley with the win gets the number 2 seed in Red Stars A, and that leaves Hanan at number 3, while Saya already had number 1 locked in. So with that, that is your review. Now we're going to get into everything else here right now. So as always, uh we'll bring up the stats from Peps. Appreciate Peps for having kept this together throughout. We will no longer need much of this. We have our blocks and everything, but as you can see here on the left side, you have Seriano at number 1 with 11 points, winning the Blue Stars A block, winning the bye. Ami Sareee and Bozilla both with 10, but Ami Sareee having the advantage, going to 10 points. The Blue Stars B, it's as simple as this. Sareee getting 11, She sits at the number 1 seed in the bye. Suzuki at 2 and Momo Watanabe at 3. Red Stars A, as I just said, Sayaka Kurara gets the first seed. Priestley and Hina close out that side. Natsupoi gets the number 1 seed with her big win over Starlight Kid, while Azumi and Rina take up the number 2 side. So Rina didn't get to be in here, but I'm so happy that she gets into the tournament, and that was a crucial moment. That is what it's all about. That is what it's all about. So from here, we now look at the matches worth the watch, as we have done all throughout this tournament. This is every match I've tried to recommend, something I've really enjoyed throughout this. But we had 3 additions to today from today's show. In the great column, Starlight Kid versus Natsupoi, following Starlight Kid versus Rina, and Rina versus Natsupoi the day before that. So consistency out of all 3 of them really crushed it. I thought Rina had such an incredible run. In the very good column, you have Bozilla versus Ami Sareee from day 11 on August 17th, and then Azumi versus Sayaka Kurara from day 11, August 17th. Really enjoyed that match as well. Let's take a look now at the MVP, shall we? The MVP breaking down into an interesting conversation point, I think, especially now that we're kind of moving on. So this is a big point. Not everything's decided yet, but in terms of blocks, here's your Red Stars A MVP from me. It was none other than Saya Kamitani, who's had a fine tournament, not to the level maybe you expected of her, but a fine tournament nonetheless at 3.14. You then had Starlight Kid at a 3.54, coming in second to none other than Arena, who finished the round robin with a 3.57, which officially tied for number 1 in the round robin play with Sareee. I both had each of them at 3.57. I couldn't do that if I tried again. So shouts out to both of them. Iida gets the Blue Stars A MVP at 3.18, with Serrano right behind her at a 3.11. But the MVP race is not over. The match of the tournament race is not over, because we have so much more to go over. Let's look at the bracket for this upcoming tournament. This is what it's all about. Let's look at Wednesday. Let's look at how this all breaks down. Shout out to Dylan for putting this cool bracket together. So in the playoffs, in the opening round, it'll be Azumi going one-on-one with Hana. That's going to be a hell of a match. The winner of that match will face Sayaka Kamitani later in the night in the quarterfinals. Major match there. Notably, Azumi and Sayaka Kamitani never faced off when Queen's Quest came to an end, so I find that very interesting. Also in round 1, on the Red Star side, Priestley will go one-on-one with Rina. The winner of that match will take on Natsupoi in the quarterfinal. On the blue side, Seriano will await the winner of Mi Vida Loca members, Suzuki versus Bozilla. A shocking face off, I'd argue. I didn't expect to see that one, but that is how the cookie crumbles. That is the matchup we got. And then, of course, at the bottom, Sareee will await the winner of Ami Soiree versus Momo Watanabe. So perhaps Momo Watanabe can get some redemption. That remains to be seen. But these are your official blocks. Wednesday, listen, last year's Korakuen, last year's playoff show at the Shinjuku Face was my favorite Stardom show of the year. I have no reason to believe this can't be another phenomenal show, especially in what I'm expecting to be a sold out Korakuen Hall. I can't wait. That is on Wednesday morning, 5:30 a.m. Eastern, for anyone who wants to check it out. Available on Stardom World. And the final, of course, will be next Sunday. We will have all the daily reviews you need, as we have throughout this entire tournament. I will have the review up on Wednesday, and I will have the finals review up on Sunday. I'm excited. I can't wait. This was a really strong show from start to finish in Hamamatsu, with so much on the line. I'm excited to see how this all breaks down. So I ask you, before we get out of here, who do you believe? Who do you believe is going to be the 5-star Grand Prix winner? Leave a comment below. How do you see these fields breaking down? Leave your predictions. What do you expect the semifinals to be? Tell me who you expect to be representing each part of the bracket in the semifinals. Tell me who you expect to be the red block winner, the blue block winner, and let me know who you have going to win. That's what I want to hear. That's what I hope to hear. This is an exciting time. I cannot wait to see it. So, with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to me once again this time around. It means the world. I recorded this right after the show, so I'm a little bit tired, but we got through it. I'll be back on Wednesday with another daily review. Gonna be awesome. Really looking forward to doing that playoff episode. My most hyped daily review so far. So please tune in on Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in all the way through. I can't believe it's almost over. But your support means the world. It's why we keep pushing through, even if some nights are long and so on and so forth. So thank you everyone for listening. I'll see you on Wednesday. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hopefully you've enjoyed the series. And like I said, let me know what you expect to happen on Wednesday in the playoff side of things. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next time. See ya.